Hello everybody, my name is RetroBoy03, and, well, Avengers Infinity War releases tonight. A movie that's been a decade in the making comes out tonight. So I decided to make a video to celebrate that, and, well, I had a Marvel set I currently had built. Here it is. So today I'll be reviewing set number 76060, Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum, from the Marvel Superheroes line, of course based off of the 2016 movie. This set comes with 358 pieces, 3 minifigures, and retails for around $30 in the United States. And, well, without further ado, let's just get into this review. So, the first minifigure we get in this set is Dr. Stephen Strange himself, and, well, this figure looks pretty good. Just starting with his accessory pieces, you can see that he has these two really nicely printed clear dishes, and it'll be a bit easier if I just remove those. You can see that there's just this little connector piece attached on the back, and you can sort of just see all the great gold printing on that piece, as well as sort of some silver highlights. You have the gold runes, and that just looks really nice. This is such a great print, and it is actually exclusive to this set. The Infinity War Doctor Strange minifigure doesn't come with these pieces, which is a shame since they look really nice and do a great job at giving off his powers, and also they just look really cool and unique. But anyway, just getting those out of the way, you can see the rest of the figure. Starting with the hairpiece, LEGO for Doctor Strange, they gave him the Widow's Peak hairpiece, which I feel is accurate enough to the comics, but it really doesn't look much like Benedict Cumberbatch's hairstyle in the movie, so I'm glad that for the Infinity War figure, if I can even speak, they've switched it out for the Bruce Wayne hairpiece from the LEGO Batman movie with the printing on it, but that is sort of the saving grace of this hairpiece. It does have the nice white printing on the sides, which is a very important part of Doctor Strange, so it's cool to see that included here. The face, in my opinion, it doesn't really look a whole lot like Benedict Cumberbatch, but I think it still looks pretty good for the face print. I mean, sort of like the hairpiece, it sort of gives off more of a comic booky style as opposed to the, how he actually appears in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's still a nice face print. I like the detail in the beard with the white in there as well. And I also like sort of the just sort of the little creases next to the eyes. I just really like that. I mean, like, this isn't a super complex face, but I just think it looks good. Even if it's not super accurate, it just looks great. And just reversing that face print, you can see that Doctor Strange also has an alternate face, which, in my opinion, I honestly like this alternate face a bit better than the primary one. I mean, it's pretty similar, aside from the mouth and the eyebrows, but I don't know, I just like this one a bit better. I think it has a bit more action to it, maybe. I think this one works better with his accessories, because, like, obviously he has sort of the open mouth design, so it makes a bit more sense for him casting the magic. But anyway, you can see the torso and leg printing is pretty great. You have the Eye of Agamotto printed onto the torso. I think it would have been cool if that was like a molded piece, but I totally understand why LEGO just printed it on. But yeah, I like the dark blue coloring. I like sort of the dark gray and the sort of nougaty color, sort of cutting through that with all the detail. I like the detail for the wrap. I like the black legs. I feel as though the dark blue and the black, that doesn't work a lot of the time, but it's fine here. Obviously, he doesn't have continuation of the coat onto the sides of the legs, so no dual molding here, but that's fine, since dark blue and black, like, it's not that noticeable, like, since they're both rather dark colors, it's not too noticeable, the difference in color, when you turn it around to the side and it just cuts off, so that works. But then for his cape, we have, of course, the Cloak of Levitation, which is sort of like the Dracula cape from the Monster Fighters line. And, well, as you can see, obviously just sort of like the normal papery cape, but you also have the collar up there. If you don't know how this works, in this set, it's actually just one single cape piece that's all connected together, which is pretty cool. And there's a reason for that when we get onto the playset itself, but just putting the head of Doctor Strange back on, you can see that here we have the back printing with sort of the crossed straps of fabric and just the continuation of the belts from the front. So, yeah. So, that is Dr. Stephen Strange, the main protagonist of, obviously, Doctor Strange, and I'm guessing he'll be one of the more important characters in Infinity War, and I'm also guessing that his, obviously he'll have to probably be one of the more important characters, since I believe the Eye of Agamotto does house an Infinity Stone, and they just try to get his cape to work. No, something's wrong here. You know what, I'll just put him back together without the cape. But anyway, so, yeah, he'll be pretty important in Infinity War, and I guess his Sanctum Sanctorum will be as well, as that is the flagship set of the LEGO Avengers Infinity War lineup. So that is Doctor Strange, and now let's move on to the next minifigure. The next figure we get in this set is Karl Mordo, and he looks pretty nice. As you can see, his accessory is just the black staff stick, definitely the least interesting in terms of accessories, and he is my least favorite of the three figures in this set, at least in terms of his torso and leg detailing. Like, don't get me wrong, he's still a cool minifigure, I just think he's a bit bland. I'm not a huge fan of the dark green mixing with the light tan. I just don't think that's a good color combination. And I don't think the dark gray mixes together that well either. Like, I just feel as though these three colors don't really mesh well. And then there's also the light blue. Like, this guy is just sort of a mishmash of colors, and I don't think the combination works. Like, you have some nice detailing, I just don't think the colors work together. On the side of the legs, the cutoff is much more noticeable for the long coat. It's much more noticeable here than on Doctor Strange, because, you know, the green is in against the gray is a lot more noticeable. Anyway, the back of the torso printing is pretty nice. But then the face print is actually my favorite part of this guy, because that is a really nice face print, and I could definitely see people getting a lot of use out of that. As you can see, he uses the Finn hairpiece from Star Wars The Force Awakens, which is good use, and then turning his head around to the back side, you can see his alternate face, which, just like with Doctor Strange, I feel as though the more aggressive alternative face does work a bit better for this guy as well. Again, I just feel as though for this set, like, this set is definitely taking place during an action scene. At least that was the intent, so I think it's good that these two guys both have angry alternative faces, and I don't know, I just feel as though this face also looks better. So yeah, that's Karl Mordo. The least of the three figures in this set, but still a pretty good one. The third and final figure included in this set is the Ancient One, and I think that she also looks pretty cool. Starting off with her accessories, you can see that LEGO took the paper fan piece, but then they molded it in not exactly like normal clear, or maybe it is normal clear, and it just, I don't know, it looks foggier than normal. And then they printed the runes onto it. Like, look at that. That's so cool. I mean, the two fan pieces are the same, just like with Doctor Strange, two identical pieces, but you really don't need two different ones. Like, I'm fine with having two different sets of runes, and like, if you really wanted to have them different, you could just turn one of them backwards. There you go, but anyway, I don't really have to get rid of those. I can just sort of put them off to the side, but I think the face on the Ancient One looks pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of the lines on the face, though, because, like, you can see those on the sides and turning them around to the back. What is that? I don't remember her head looking like that in the movie, so that's kind of odd and really does limit the usage of this face print, which is pretty sad because it is a pretty nice print. But, you can see that her torso is molded in pearl gold, which is, well, not pearl gold, but, you know, yeah, just, you know, the normal gold. LEGO's current main gold color, it's molded in that, which is pretty cool. And you have the purple printing, which carries down onto the purple legs with gold printing. And I feel as though that looks pretty cool. Sort of the continuous design of the outfit. The back print is really simple, but it's fine. So, yeah, that's the Ancient One. overall, it's another great figure. This set comes with 3 great figures, so now let's just move on to, well, the Sanctum Sanctorum itself. So here we have Doctor Strange's Sanctorum itself, which I think is a pretty nice and interestingly done playset build. Because as you can see, it's basically you basically just have a back wall with some stuff on the floor in the foreground. And the wall is hinged, like just turning this around to the side, you can sort of see it. Here on the back, you can see the actuators for some of our play features. But yeah, you can see sort of how the wall is hinged in a few places to create sort of the curved design of the room, which is pretty interesting looking. I'll start over here on the left side. I feel as though, yeah, I'll just start over here with this little corner of the room. I mean, it's a bit hard to sort of get in on anything, but starting off with just this little small section of wall, you can see here you have a couple of different envelopes, as well as a note for Doctor Strange. Here you also have this little chest that can't be opened right now, but if you just pull that off, and you do want to pull that off to the outside. I pulled it off to the inside, and I'm just pulled this entire set apart, so don't do that, but inside you have a gold key and a red gem, which is pretty cool, but just leaving that off to the side. Here we have our first play feature, kind of. This set sort of has play features that are really designed for display and not actual play, which is kind of an interesting way to go about it. And basically you have this little Technic ball, which you can just do here, and I mean, like, the idea here is that you would take the Cloak of Invisibility and just pull off the Technic ball, leave the pin in though, so, let me just try to get that in there. There we go. So, do that, then just put your cape up. Give me a second. The Cloak of Invisibility is always a bit of a pain to put together. Okay, so then take your cloak and just put it on the Technic pin, sort of as so, and put the ball back on to lock that in, and then fold up the top of the cape to complete sort of the invisibility. Did I say invisibility? The levitation cloak look. The idea is that you can just move this around to have the cloak levitating of its own accord. So that's a thing. Personally, I feel as though it looks a lot better on Doctor Strange, though, so I kind of wish LEGO would just left this out. Since I'm going to be using the cloak with Doctor Strange, and now I just kind of have a bludger coming out of the wall. But yeah, I mean, like, I guess an alternative use for this would be that you can just sort of, like, take your figure and you could just sort of maybe place them, like, on here, but that doesn't really work, so never mind. I was thinking of, like, the basketball piece, but this is a little Technic ball, not a basketball, so I'm just kind of dumb. So yeah. So here we have the center of the Sanctum Sanctorum, and here we have some nice details. You can see that on each side we have a bookshelf. Here on the left, the bottom has some books, which, if you can't tell, is just a clever build using some jumper plates and a tile on the end, as well as a top hat and a pink crystal, and on top we have, to be completely honest, I forget what this thing is. If it had any significance in the plot of Doctor Strange, I don't remember, and I'm sorry for that, but, I mean, as it is, it looks like a cool thinglebop. And this is also, and that build is also in the $100 sort of modular, like the big Sanctum Sanctorum set from Infinity War, and I think it's kind of cool how a lot of the features in this Sanctum Sanctorum are also present in the Infinity War version, like that, a couple of the other things in the bookshelves, and a lot of the stickers are also reused for Infinity War, which is just kind of a cool thing. But anyway, over on the right side, you can see that the bookshelf, you have books on the bottom, then a skull, then another other group of books, and I do think it's a bit odd how the 3 groups of books are exactly the same. I think it would have been cool to maybe introduce in, like, a 4th color and just sort of mix that up, but I don't know, it looks fine. And then you also have, just on top, you have a green bottle, and in the middle of the of the middle section, I forget what that's called, I'm sorry. The window, you have a cup. And for the window that I know has a name, but I'm forgetting, you can see that unlike the Infinity War set, where LEGO printed up a TIE Fighter windshield, here you have it brick-built using 4 of the sort of Ninjago-like mech swords. I know they existed before Ninjago, I think. But anyway, but I just call them the Ninjago pieces, and you can see at the back how those are attached pretty simply, but they work nice. And you also have these clear pieces, though, come into a feature you can probably already start to see, but first we have this table. It's a nice table build. You have a couple of candles, brick-built. Kind of pitiful, see, now that we know that now there are going to be molded candles coming in the Harry Potter Great Hall set, which are just so good looking. And then up on the table you have a couple of stickers. You have one saying Shambhala, which is the Wi-Fi password, of course. And then you also have one from Stark Industries, which is cool to see. And also next to this bookshelf here you have a bottle. But the play feature, if you couldn't already see it, is you just have these obvious clear pieces sticking out. And the idea there is you can just push on the back to lift them up. So, like, say, if you want to have Doctor Strange in an action pose and have him levitating with his cloak, you can just put him on that piece and then have him move around and float. And that's pretty cool. There is a problem in that, well, I mean, obviously there's no way to hold that. So, like, you can't have him in this action pose unless you put some weight down on the other side, but it's still a thing, and you probably could definitely put something down on the other side to weigh it down if you wanted to pose it like this, just that nothing is included in the set. But yeah, you could get some cool poses. Like, I think this does look pretty cool, but anyway. Just putting him down like that. I mean, now we can just sort of move on to the last segment of the set as soon as I reattach a piece that somehow fell off at some point. I didn't notice. It'll just feel like reattaching. That would be nice. Okay, there we go. Sorry about the inconvenience, but anyway, starting off, before we get on to the obvious portal beast, we do have some nice printed and stickered tiles here. You can see 2 printed maps as well as 2 stickers. One for the Book of the Invisible Sun, as well as one for the Codex Imperium. You also have a great sticker down here on the bottom of this ramp piece here with just some great runes and designs. It looks very Doctor Strangey. And something I should have mentioned before is the overall aesthetic of this room. I like the sort of brown trim down at the bottom before you get up to the clean tan walls. This set looks very nice. But then we have the Portal Beast, which looks super weird. I don't remember this thing from the movie. I mean, maybe it was in the movie, but I certainly don't remember it. And you can see that it has some very interesting building. You have multiple colors in there. You have a bunch of tentacles popping out. You have 4 printed eyes, you have teeth. And there's a feature here, because on the back, amidst all these many different colors, really only like 3, we have a geared system with a wheel. The idea here is that if you spin the wheel, it'll cause the tentacles to move around. So you could sort of just have it like this, and you can have them close in, which I think looks pretty good. Just over it, have it grabbing its prey. So something you can do with that is you can take one of your figures. I'll just take Mordo, because why not? Anyway, you can just sort of take him and you can have the Portal Beast grabbing him. Like, you could have the plot be that they have to rescue Doctor Strange and the Ancient One have to rescue Mordo from the Portal Beast. And I feel so, like, that just looks good. I feel so, in general, the Portal Beast is probably my favorite thing in the set, to be honest. Like, it looks nice and you get some great figures, but that Portal Beast, that's just something else. It's really well done. Beautifully done, even, I could say. But yeah, really, that's all there is for the Doctor Strange set. No stud shooters, no spring shooters, thank God. Maybe there could have been, like, an explodey feature, but I think it's fine that there isn't. Something I would have liked to see is maybe, like, a portal, like, maybe just a section of wall that could pop out to transport you somewhere else or just out of the set. I don't know, I feel as though that would have been a cool inclusion, but I can see why they didn't include it. I mean, this set is packed enough already, and I think it's pretty well packed. So let me just get the figures back in here for the final verdict. Would I recommend that you pick up the Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum set based off of the 2016 movie, if you can find it? I would say so. I mean, you get some great minifigures. The price per piece ratio is just really good. And I mean, like, just a cool set. You have some nice features, you have a lot of great stickers, you have some interesting building techniques. I mean, overall, this set just looks very well polished. However, the question is, if you're already getting if you already have the $100 Avengers Infinity War version of the Sanctorum, should you spend the cash to get this version from the movie? I can't really decide that for you. Like, personally, I actually prefer this to the Infinity War version, since this one has a much better interior, which I think just looks better. And seeing as how I really like LEGO interiors and being able to play with my sets and set up figures inside, I feel as though this is a lot better for that aspect. Although, really, obviously, I feel as though from the exterior, this set doesn't have an exterior, and the Infinity War version just has an absolutely gorgeous exterior, so I don't know. It's really up to what you want. Personally, I have this set. I'm not getting the, I'm not planning on getting the Infinity War version, but my brother is, so I'll probably review that in a few months, whenever he gets that. But yeah, overall, I would rate this set an A. There really aren't any problems here. Great set. Now let's just hope that Infinity War is as great as this set, because we've been waiting 10 years for Infinity War. Let's hope it's actually good. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching this review. And, yeah. I feel like I was going to say something, but I forgot, so I'll see all of you in the next video. Bye-bye.